Right, good morning to our community from the UK. Right, as you can see, I've watered down my blog making because I said before, many TRs would agree, the longer you're in the programme, the more, once you've looked into it all, researched it all, the more you can get your head around and be more emotionally resilient to not get drowned out and get depressed, anxious or stressed or be in fear. And not react to the daily abuse, shenanigans, spying, shadowing, remote neutral monitoring campaigns, 24-hour Big Brother, internet streaming, skullduggery, like these covert operators are doing. Now, as I'm doing this now, I'm under observation because these covert abusers in the community of the TIs, that the TIs reside in, have got a big, massive network which is linked to the intelligence teams, linked to the police, linked to the local authorities who think they can try and detain targets via mental health, the medical industry, which is the NHS in the UK that I'm exposing, to the social workers, which is the healthcare sectors. And so it's a constant 24-hour criminally organised, illegal, criminal practiced surveillance monitoring campaign, which they abuse all their powers of surveillance technologies, abuse all the powers of authority, and behind mind, community members, present ones, past ones that I know of, and their network, they get access to this no more secret Big Brother website or remote neutral monitoring viewing campaign, and that's where they get beehived. They get beehived to be on the side of the covert operators and the sector abusers, and they'll try and either make phone calls to social workers, to healthcare abusers, to mental health administrating targeting networks, while they'll take little snippets, little videos, little clips to keep us memories for what they got incriminated in and what they got involved in, which is all criminal practicing. And so Dr. Robert Duncan mentioned one cybersecurity, one idiot abuser who's targeting the TI and their family. They can control, have a network of up to 5,000 people who they're also trying to either control as a TI, or they gave access of a TI they are abusing and trying to brain manipulate, and do all these kinds of experiments linked to the MK Ultra projects, which is about 149 last time counted and officially recognised. They'll also monitor everyone they've gave a link to of the TI, and that's where the TI and TIs worldwide would agree. They'll either get sound recordings of what the remote neutral viewers they've given access to, who are putting down the TI. Well, it works two ways. Through the airways, what I've picked up, the families and the people they've given links to of me living, they can be negative, they can be positive. Now, for how long it's gone on for, a lot of families and a lot of people who are viewing me don't agree, and that should all be turned off. What we're doing to me daily, Big Brother. Well, some of these people in the families and in the communications, whether they're watching on their own or watching with a group of people, some of them agree with the sector abusers, the healthcare, the NHS, that they should carry on and try and detain us via healthcare, NHS and mental health. And so, for example, I was on Zoom last night, and passed through. I thought I'll have a quick look, see who was there. And spoke to a couple of TIs. One TI gave me a link to some Christian fellowship group near where he lives. And then this morning, I'm picking up activity from the Beehived remote neutral monitoring community, who've ever get access to. And one woman keeps saying, yeah, while I was on Zoom last night, I zoomed in on his face because I had my protective gear on, hat and bodysuit, and I just zoomed in on his face and took photographs of his eyes, his face and his teeth, and I'm going to pass on to social services. Wow, that's illegal, that's criminal practicing, but that's part of the script, the brain manipulation, trying to put fear, paranoia, depression into me. And I just laugh. You have to be emotionally resilient to it all, because they want a reaction out of it all. And then another example is, I've made out while I was getting information from this Christian fellowship group that the other TR was talking about, and make out their remote neutral monitoring community, families and a couple of individuals are going to make phone calls and approach that group to either slander us or to go there and see what they're all about, maybe to see if they can be targeted in this Christian group. So that's how they do their scripts, and how they do their psychological warfare, how they do their 24-hour brain manipulation. They have to watch a target and see what the target does 24 hours a day, whether on the mobiles, which is a serious breach of the cyber security violations, criminal, illegal practices. And under law, whoever's hacking into targeted individuals' phones should be imprisoned. They can be caught while watching me living, cooking, eating, sleeping, bathing, showering. Yeah, that's all linked to the healthcare sectors, social workers, mental health administrators, to psychiatry, psychologists, sociologists, even behavioral scientists. And so it's all illegal because no one has a right to watch you 24 hours a day, every day, 365 days a year, and then think they can edit it all. Like BigBrother reality TV, edit it all and show the bad clips from various angles of you living, of you and getting by in life while you're under pressure 24 hours a day by the Covert operators who have put all their equipment, all the sensors everywhere around the target, sensory circuitry in the infrastructure, whether through your neighbours' next door walls or depending what kind of a home you're living in. That home was probably, before you moved in, they set up all the circuitry in there. And then they have covert operators hiding nearby properties, aiming equipment in, and then that's bouncing off all the walls so they can see what's happening inside that property. And then they track the targeted individual for everything they do 24 hours a day inside their home. I put links up yesterday to YouTube channel host who he's worked in the industry, not in the targeting industry, but he worked in the infrastructure industry, and he knows quite a lot about the way they set up the infrastructure so they can look into people's homes. And so, what else is there? this link I've got here, there's quite a few other links in this channel. It tells you about the beehive mind, which is the mentality of a targeting network. They all get beehive minded to go against the target, to hate the target and be corrupted, believing that their network eventually can sabotage the target's life, and then conspire with the healthcare, the NHS, the mental health, the mental health industry, to eventually have the target institutionalised into care. And that's what the main goal is when we set up these 24-hour remote neutral monitoring skullduggery networks. Use the community, use the workplace mobbers, and anyone else they've got access to the target's everyday living. 24-hour Big Brother. And what I said earlier, with the TIs, with the V2K, psychological warfare, abuse, the more people they give access to the remote neutral monitoring networks, the more VTK abuse that you will get from different members in the community that you could be possibly hearing. They can they'll sound record as well, due to the cybersecurity intelligence abusing networks they have out there. Listen to the community, mass surveillance monitoring. And I will record individuals and families who are watching or talking, discussing the targeted individual, and they'll throw that back into the mix to be part of the scripted V2K. And also, because they're trolling us 24 hours a day, depending on how long you've been a target, we've listened to every conversation, watched everything you've done on social media, seen what you've done in the community, know your past association to present association, they'll throw loads of names in to try and do brain manipulation, to try and psych you, trigger you, cause fear, paranoia, depression, if they can get to you. That's why you need to know every aspect of this program and have a emotional resilient to everything they throw at you. And I said, if you look at it from if the professionals in government looked at the covert operators and the remote neutral monitoring teams they have gave access to, or who watch them a target, like a 24-hour Big Brother, they've got mental illness called OCD. The covert operators who track the target in every room or everywhere a target goes. Yeah, they've got anxiety. They've got stress. They've got ants in their pants. Yeah, they've got nervous twitches because they can't keep still. They have to aim their equipment and go everywhere where a target goes. And that's mental illness, if you want to look at it from the different angle and see what the covert operators are doing. Well, it says, like, anyone else is watching, they've got access to, or to be a host, to network the TI. 24-hour Big Brother illegal worldwide web streaming of a target. They've also got a mental illness called OCD, and are not living their life because they're living the target's life, watching what the target does 24 hours a day. That's why that's why the local community authorities and social services, healthcare, the medical, NHS, local hospitals, and the psychiatrists, psychologists, sociologists, and human behavioural scientists and neurologists in the local authorities network of the targeted individual they are abusing, they have to look at that picture, look at that angle. Whoever's doing the surveillance monitoring, they have mental illnesses for how long it's gone on for. And they should be warned. Yeah, it doesn't take a genius to watch a person for an hour and realise whether that person is mentally or physically disabled. Yeah, not 24 hours, not every day, week after week, year after year. And if local authorities get their head round that, they should throw the book at the surveillance monitoring teams, at the illegal researchers, illegal experimenters, and the twisted, evil, overt and covert operators. And anyone else who's part of their corrupted network who they've got access to allow targets to be abused in their homes and everyday vicinity. They should be hauled in for investigation and they should be imprisoned with the overt and covert operators and whoever the cybersecurity hackers are who are breaking every law, watching targets on their phones or on their internet communications. They should all be imprisoned because they're not professional. They're evil experimenters, evil targeting abusers who get a kick out of voyeuristic videoing, illegal research, and doing their own community comparisons, clinical close-up trials, comparing it to their families, to their boys and girls in the targeted community. And they think they can have memories of targets they have abused and broken every law on them to make videos of them. That's the big angle, the big picture that the local authorities and the healthcare, the medical NHS industry need to look at when targeted individuals are exposing these inhumane crimes worldwide. Let's play a short clip to this video and I'll put the links in.
Everything to try to save this country. And I'm hoping that by me coming forward and doing the best I can and for surviving as long as I can, I will inspire other insiders and give them the courage and the hope they need to make that decision as well and see if we can't start making some progress against this thing.
It's important to understand what the 5G is doing and what they say it's doing. We're told on the IEEE beamforming document that this technology cooked your eyes like eggs in World War II.
Voice-to-skull, hive mind, behavior manipulation technology.
And you all need to understand these are military weapons. These are assault frequencies.
The true control grid is this technology.
If you garner nothing more than that, that's what you need to know. It's microwave radiation warfare is what this is.
Supercomputer software programming will manipulate the emotions and behavior and the thoughts of everybody in the United States of America. And it can all be done remotely. It's very much like the microchip kind of tracking the New World Order, this entire, control grid that's supposed to be rolled out against the American people someday. And I'm here to tell you that it's already here.
While also the cybersecurity violations being done on TRs around the world, they have access to our emails, access to everything we do on our mobile phones. Example, while I was watching the World Cup, and they've been doing this for years, they know I enjoy my football, and can pick out a few bets throughout this football season. So they've been targeting me for 18 years, and in that time, they've allowed criminals, community members who are part of the targeting network, to have access to my football information. I had to stop playing poker because I could be up against loads of people who were cheating because they're watching me and know what cards I got. And so I didn't want them to know how I played poker. And so I stopped playing poker. But that was in the early days of the targeting. Now, I wasn't a big poker player. Didn't play for big money. I was just learning how to play online. I can play poker when it comes to playing against a few friends. But online, it's a different ball game. You're up against bots. And when you're a targeted individual, you're up against cheating cybersecurity experts who can get a network together to play against you. And if they know your hand, you're not going to win. And so, but when it comes to the football gambling, the criminals they've got in the local community and nationwide and worldwide, yeah, they'll be laundering their criminal money that they've got from the past, yeah, and having the right care in the world, they can put thousands on, hundreds on, yeah. Well, normal people in the community, they won't put much on. They'll pick a few teams, whatever ideologies in the football gambling. You pick a few teams. The more you pick, the big odds that these criminals out there and these rich boys and girls who they've also got watching the TIs in their beehived remote neutral monitoring community network, they just need to pick one team and they'll put thousands on. And they've got millionaires on. They've got millionaires involved in the targeting, yeah, who pay these contractors, pay these mercenaries to abuse the targets, and they get a kick at the video voyeurism of watching Big Brother. So that's how they've got millionaires involved, let alone criminals, criminal masterminds from the local community to nationwide, to worldwide, who are accessing and seeing what the targeted individual is going through, and they get a kick out of it. Especially if the targeted individual reacts to the psychological operations being thrown down on them. So I just thought I'd give a little input, a little blog for the day. Probably won't do one now for another week or so. So every TI around the world, stay strong, stay vigilant, stay safe, and try and enjoy the Christmas festivities and have a Merry Christmas. While all the overt and covert operators involved in the targeting in our communities, we hope you have a miserable one, because eventually the targeting program will have to be taken down because it's full of rogue, corrupted, criminal, abusing in authority, abusing of technical sophisticated technologies, which have to be brought down and stopped, because it doesn't take a genius to watch someone for an hour. Not every day, not week after week or month after month, year after year, as I stated earlier. And that's where government authorities have to realise the targeting community have to be investigated and imprisoned. As all the time it carries on, the training, abusing in authority, rogue, mercenaries, evil community members, and evil targeting government servants who work for the NHS, for medical, for healthcare, social services, in psychiatry, in psychology, in neurology, neuroscience, and everyday human behavioural science. They're learning all the evil modification programming that we're putting targets through. So TIs, take care and have a Merry Christmas. Everyone out.